Do I have regrets in my life? Of course I do. And one of them is I've just lived in stress too much. Any of you relate to that? I think most of that's because I wasn't present enough. Stress is worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, or trying to solve a problem in the future that's not yet there. This is most people. They're chasing some notoriety, some fame, some accomplishment, some destination. It might even be like I'm chasing the weekend, so I don't enjoy Wednesday, right? Peace is only found in the present. And by the way, productivity is only in the present. You are only peaceful and productive right now. When you're constantly trying to arrive, you've literally built a pattern of your life of what I call escape. People escape into their thoughts about their past. My mom did this, my dad did that, this former relationship, this business thing went the wrong way. Other people escape into the future. Rather than always worrying about becoming, just be. I'm my best when I am being. I just be. I don't chase. I believe a rich man's life is rich financially if you choose. Rich in contribution. But the richness is the richness of moments. And I can tell you that it doesn't exist in the future. It only exists right now. Stop wasting your time and be more fully present.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. So grateful to spend this time with you this week. This week, we're going to talk about stress. And attached to that, the concept of being more present. You know, I get asked often, do I have regrets in my life? And of course I do. I'm almost 54 years old now. And when I look back on my life with all the blessings I've had, significant blessings financially. I've had a wonderful family. I've had great travel, great memories in my life. I've had some notoriety. I've had the ability to impact people. But yes, I do have many regrets. And one of them is I've just lived in stress too much. Any of you relate to that? And you know what? I think most of that's because I wasn't present enough. I think stress and presence are almost impossible to exist together. Stress to me is always in the future. Stress is worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, or trying to solve a problem in the future that's not yet there. Stress is something's going on currently, but I'm worried about what it's going to be later, or what the impact will be, or what the fallout will be. And so stress for me always happens when my mind moves to the future. And I think so many people do this in their life, and future traveling is not very healthy. Now, I think there's a place for dreaming and vision. I talk about this a lot. I think the most happy and successful people are dreamers. They use their imagination. They see what they want their life to be like, and they go create it. I'm going to give you a great example of how to nuance that, because a lot of times people say, I'm confused. If I'm not supposed to be in the future, then why should I be dreaming and having an imagination? There's a difference between future traveling constantly or giving yourself a respite and a vision that you glimpse at and then go to work in the present on it. So stress for me has always been caused by the lack of presence. Stress is always in the future. Even you go, no, there's a stressful situation going on right now I'm dealing with. Is it what you're dealing with, or is it what it's going to mean tomorrow? What it's going to mean in a week? What it's going to mean in a year? Your kid got expelled from school. Yeah, but it's also, what does it mean? Oh my gosh, they're going to not live a great life, or they're going to be a criminal, or whatever we start processing in our minds, right? So it's always the future. Here's what happens for people that are stressed. And I relate to this because I am one. And I think I'm going to give you a great analogy today that just happened for me that kind of pulls together. How do you simultaneously have a vision and a dream and allow yourself to see the future and still be present? I think I'll give you a great example of that in a second. Constantly chasing something that actually doesn't yet exist is stressful. And in this case, you miss everything around you when you're chasing something in the future. You cannot enjoy the present moment, and you won't even enjoy the next one, because when you arrive to the next one, then you're worried about the one after that. If you're always in the future traveling, you don't enjoy the moment you're in because you're not actually in it. You're in the next one. And then when you arrive to the next one, you don't enjoy that one because you're already thinking about the next one. If anybody relates to this, is most people. They're chasing some notoriety, some fame, some accomplishment, some destination. It might even be like I'm chasing the weekend, so I don't enjoy Wednesday, right? But if you're chasing, if you're in the future, you are stressed. If you're in the future, you're not present. Peace is only found in the present. That I know definitively. This nuance between having a vision and a dream, I'm going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to give you a great example of how to do it from my real life. But I can tell you that I know peace is only in the present. And by the way, productivity is only in the present. You are only peaceful and productive right now. You can't be productive in the future because it doesn't exist. And you can't be peaceful there either because it doesn't exist. Only what exists is now. And even the past, a lot of times, is a figment of our imagination or our version of what happened. And so in this case, when you chase things, you miss everything around you. And if you ask me my regret, it's that as I was in the chase and I caught a lot of these things I was chasing, I missed every moment along the way. Maybe not everyone, but I missed more than I would have liked. Does it make any sense to constantly chase the things you want and to never be in the moment until you get there? Because then even when you get there, you'll be chasing the next thing and not in that moment. You cannot enjoy the present moment. If you can't learn to do that, you're not going to enjoy the next one when you arrive there either. And even though it's a figment of your imagination, a lot of people travel there in the future. And I said this on our last podcast. 170,000 people don't have a next moment today. Their lives were ended today. And so many of those 170,000 people that didn't wake up today, I guarantee you yesterday they were lamenting the future. They were thinking about the future, one that didn't even exist for them. And it's someday for you, that next day won't exist either. And so learning to be present is the reduction of stress. You're probably chasing it right now, aren't you? Trying to make it what you want it to be. And in your mind, you're trying to find some way to, if you could just get to that finish line, if you could just get to that promotion, if you could just get to the weekend, if you could just get to that sale, then you'll give yourself a break. Except when you get there, you got to go somewhere else too. Have you not realized that every day you live, there's going to be another day? And every goal you achieve, there's going to be another goal? So if you actually think when you get to the next one, what are you going to do? Stop setting the goal? No, you have to find a way to have the vision of what you want and enjoy the present moment at the same time. Otherwise, your goals cease to exist and then you're dead. You're either growing or dying. You got to keep growing. So there's got to be a mental way to do this. The future, by the way, is a complete figment of your imagination. One of the great things that we talk about at church sometimes is this, and by the way, I'm a big goal setter, and you guys all know that, but if you want to hear God laugh, tell him all of your plans, right? And so there's some nuance there. We're moving towards what we want. The law of attraction is real, but at the same time, we have to have some surrender that life happens, and we're best equipped to deal with a moment when we're actually in it. What you're doing is you're worrying about this boogeyman in the closet. The future is the boogeyman in the closet that doesn't exist. It's Santa Claus. It literally doesn't exist. And yet as kids, we're taught to always chase these moments. Your birthday's coming up, summer's coming up, Christmas is coming up. And it's ingrained in us when we're very little to look to the future instead of being present. But when you're the most happy in your life, you're fully present. Let me explain. Most of the happiest moments of my life are the ones where I was fully present. The most memorable moments of my life is when I was fully present. And so recently, this past Christmas, my daughter and I went on a daddy-daughter trip to New York. And it was a wonderful 3 days. And I have to say, give myself a pat on the back. For most of those 3 days, I was fully present with her. And it was wonderful. We went to Rockefeller Center and saw the Christmas tree. We went and visited some just incredible, went to St. Patrick's Cathedral and went to go see my good friend Brett Eldridge perform. We ran into Adam Sandler for a while. We had dinner at a Michelin star restaurant that was incredible. And but that wasn't my favorite time there. My favorite time was we just took a walk in Central Park, just me and my little girl. And she's in college now. She's a junior, and so I don't get the time that I would like. I wish I was more present when she was younger. But this walk, I was fully present. And anyway, as we're walking through Central Park, it was fun. We were talking about life and different things. And then we ran into, if you've ever been to Central Park, there's some guys there that will do portraits. And so we ran into this guy, several guys that did portraits. And I found the one guy I like to say, hey, Bella, you want this guy to sketch a portrait of you? And she goes, okay, Dad, yeah, we could do that, which surprised me that my daughter was willing to sit there and have that done because, people are walking by and watching you. You're in the middle of the park. This is the portrait, by the way, of my daughter. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. And then we're going to put up actually there a picture of her holding it in the park with the wonderful man who did the painting and the portrait as well. We'll show that on the YouTube. And if you're on the audio, that's okay. Just trust me, there's a beautiful picture that was sketched of my daughter. That's incredibly real life. But what's interesting about this portrait is that what he did was he held in his view of reference, his frame of reference, my daughter the whole time. So he was staring at the end product. That's your vision and your dream. The best analogy I've ever seen at how to be fully present yet focused on the future was this man with my daughter. In other words, my daughter, there's this blank canvas he's got, and he's sitting behind it. You've seen this before. And he's looking at my daughter. And he's telling her, stand still, stay right there. So he's looking at the end product. He's looking at the finish line. He's looking at the goal. He's looking at the dream. He's looking at the vision. He's looking at his imagination of what it's going to look like. Yet he has to be fully present to begin to sketch this portrait of my daughter. And it was very interesting to watch him do it, because he started with some scribbles here and scribbles there, and I didn't even know what it was looking like, and then her nose, and he could see what it was going to look like as he was in the present moment. Now, he could not have painted this beautiful picture of my daughter, or sketched it rather, if she wasn't there and he didn't know what it was going to look like. And by the way, he spent tons of time looking at her, yet he was in the moment taking the action and being focused. What a gift this man has, by the way. I can't even get over how someone's mind and their artistic abilities work like that. I can't color in the lines. I don't have legible printing. I say, what an unbelievable genius people who can do this have. This quiet, wonderful man who's, by the way, turned out he told us about his daughter who worked on Wall Street, literally not far from the park that he was in, and how proud he was of her, where she went to NYU and school, and we got to know him very well. But I watched this beautiful man express his gift. And the nuance of it was he was doing something he was great at that he loved, so he was fully present in the moment. And he painted this beautiful picture of my daughter that looks just like her. In other words, he took his dream or the vision or the final product and made it a reality. But the only way he could do it was by being fully present. He was quiet. He was just working away, and he would look at her and then look at her and then sketch, and then look at her and sketch. That's how you make your dreams come true. You look at the future and then you sketch. And if you watched someone in their moment of doing something great, there was a peace about him, a calmness, a stillness, a bliss, almost like I'm called in this moment. It's about 25 degrees in a park, and this man was loving what he was doing. Great joy. And then when it was done, and I'll never forget the moment where he said, okay, are you ready? And he turned it around and showed Bella, here you go, how proud he was of what he had created. And he took all of her reactions in, every little nuance of it. And by the way, the level of detail in this sketch of her chin and her lips and her hair and the way her earmuffs were, all of it is so detailed. And if you're on the audio, you don't need to see that. I just want you to all understand something. That's how you should live your life, just like this man sketched this dream into reality of my precious daughter. Fully present in the moment and periodically looking at what you want the finished product to be. Not living. If he would have just stared at my daughter the whole time, think about the stress that would create if it not coming out in the portrait. Think about the lack of bliss and peace, right? It's the nuance of both. It's the nuance of both. If you're going to sketch and make your dreams come true, you got to hold a picture of what you want it to look like, but then you got to be in the moment and take in every nuance, every curve, every wrinkle, every detail, every breath. My daughter would move a millimeter. He goes, no. Put your chin back where it was. Move your head. He knew every nuance and detail. What happened was it was just a full experience for him, a full experience. And he was also paid well at the end too, right? The point being, that's how you do it. And so the portrait of Bella, looking at it, taking it all in, is something that you can make a reality. The level of detail is what really blew my mind. And stress only arises when you're continually focused on the next moment. He wasn't worried about the next portrait he was going to do, or what his payment was, or what was going to, he wasn't. He was fully in the moment, but yet he could see the future at the same time. When you're constantly trying to arrive or across some invisible finish line in life, you're not enjoying what you're doing. You've created stress. You've literally built a pattern of your life of what I call escape. You're literally trying to escape into your thoughts. People escape into their thoughts about their past. I can escape and hide there. My mom did this. My dad did that. This former relationship, this business thing went the wrong way. They escape. Other people escape into the future. But one way or the other, you're trying to escape. I have a lot of friends who say, I don't use drugs or alcohol. Their escape isn't drugs or alcohol. Some people escape into drugs. Some people escape into alcohol. By the way, they typically escape there because of stress. But a lot of people don't use those things. Their drug is the future. Their drug is their worries. Their addiction is their stress. Their addiction is their thoughts that create their stress. That's their escape. They escape into their addiction, which is their thinking, which is the future, which is the finish line, which is becoming instead of being. Rather than always worrying about becoming, just be. You can't travel to this place that literally doesn't exist, because when you get there, you'll be chasing the next one that doesn't exist. So here's what I'm saying to you today that I've learned. I'm my best when I am being. I just be. I don't chase. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Who's your support system? For me, it's my family and friends. And you know, one of the things I get asked often is, what do all 800 people that have been guests on your show have in common? And not all of them have this in common. But the thing that would surprise most people that many of them have in common is they've been to therapy, including myself. That's something most people don't talk about. You know, therapy can help you from things like you're working through some trauma from childhood or a difficulty that you're going through right now, but it could also be just to get clarity of thought, a sense of direction in your life. Talk out loud about your goals and dreams or your issues and problems with somebody. Therapy from BetterHelp is helpful because you can do it online. And if you don't vibe with your therapist, you can switch out anytime and get one that you do work with well. You can access a diverse network of 30,000 credentialed therapists, a wide range of specialties, and easily switch, like I said. So build your support system at BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp/EdShow to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/EdShow. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/EdShow. He didn't have to chase that picture. It was right in front of him. And then he went to work on it in a peaceful, quiet, nuanced way with every detail being taken in. In fact, the key to that portrait is how present he was, how many things he could notice, all of the nuances, all of the details. I think the key to your life is how present you can be. How many details you can take in, how much nuance, how much presence, how much calm makes you a better speaker, communicator, salesperson, mother, father, influencer, friend, human, child of God is being. If you're not careful, your life will be a complete waste. You will get to that day like the other 170,000 people did today, and you lived very few moments. When I say that I've had regrets in my life, I should have had more moments. I should have had more times where I took it all in. I should have had more moments like that walk in the park. Even with all of my business achievements or financial achievements, I should have enjoyed them more. I should have taken it all in. Heck, a lot of them I don't even remember. There are moments that I don't remember in my life that I should. Any of you relate to this? Because I wasn't always there. I was always in the future. Instead of just being, I was always trying to become. Goals and dreams and visions are beautiful, but you have to learn the ability to have those and still be present, just like he was. Fully present with the vision and the goal right in front of him. Every nuance, every detail, crafting this piece of art. Your greatest creation will be your life. The work of art of your life is you. Sometimes you have to learn to have a goal and then separate from the outcome. The best performers in life and sports have a goal to win the game, but when they're in the moment of executing, they separate from the outcome. They're not addicted to the outcome. When I watch the best of the best play, the NFL playoffs are going on right now, I can tell the people that are so addicted to the outcome and what it's going to mean. If we lose, what are they going to say about me? If we win, what are they going to say about me? And the guy who's just playing, he wants to win and has an outcome to win just like the other guy. But this guy, in the moment the ball snapped, separates from outcome and just executes. The other guy, every move is sort of attached to what it'll mean. What it'll mean in the future. If we lose, what it'll mean? If I catch this, what will it mean? If I drop it, what will it mean? And for a lot of you, it's always, well, if I make that goal, what will it mean? What will they think of me? How will I feel about me? And if I don't, what will they think? How will they feel? And that's what gives you all your anxiety, is worrying about something in the future and what someone's going to think, say, or do about it. So these goals and dreams are beautiful, but you got to be. And sometimes you got to set the goal and then separate from outcome. The most beautiful moments of your life are the most memorable, where you're the most present, where you got the most bliss. You know, what a dream is it's really a glimpse into what's possible in your life. And most days, those things are more possible if you just be present. You know, the things that I remember in my life were the moments I was fully present. Probably the most vivid memory of my life was my dad's passing. I was fully present in that moment when I was with my dad. And as a result of that, it's burned into my memory. Every nuance, every detail, I can see it and feel it and experience it again. The birth of Max and Bella, equally or more significant to that. I clearly remember it. I can clearly give myself the gift of those moments. I was fully present. Isn't it interesting that the things we cherish the most are the ones we were fully present for? And most of the time, it didn't involve achievement. It involved being. And I'm such a huge person that believes in achievement. And I really believe that achievement is done one day at a time, one decision at a time, one action at a time. And you are better at that one action, that one day, if you're fully present in it and you're not somewhere else. You'll not only enjoy it more, you'll be more effective. My best podcasts are when I'm just right in it in that moment. My best sales calls of my life when I was just right there, nowhere else, making people feel like they're the most important thing in the world to me because they were in that moment. People aren't the means to an end. They are the end. They're all of it. They're the means and the end. And when someone is fully present with you, you feel that. You're more influential. You're more persuasive. Some of the most miserable people in terms of emotions are the people that you look up to the most. I can tell you this, and I've cherished every guest that's ever been on my show. I've moved the show recently where like most podcasts, everyone's trying to have the most famous person on. And I thought, well, I have businesses already. I want to have the most effective and impactful show. So just because someone's famous doesn't get you a ticket and a seat with me. You better have something to say, something to add. And what I have found is a lot of times people that are super famous or successful, they speak in platitudes, generalities. You watch the interview and it's like, I didn't write anything down or get anything out of it. That's not always. I've had very famous people on like Matthew McConaughey and great athletes like Kurt Warner or Troy Aikman or others that are just incredibly contributory when they're on the show. But I find that that's the exception, and that it's people with real lives that really make a difference, that are having real breakthroughs. And so some of the most miserable people are the ones that they've been chasing notoriety, chasing fame, chasing achievement. You'd think, well, why aren't they happier? Because they've built a pattern of always being in the future. So when they won the Academy Award, they enjoyed it for like 10 seconds and they were always on to the next thing. They won the Super Bowl. They barely enjoyed it. I remember watching Nick Saban, who I admire a great deal, won a national championship and running off the field after the national championship with this tremendous stress on his face. He was already on to the next one. And I wonder, it must be great to have won 7 of them. I admire him so much. He's the greatest coach in the history of college football. I think he's won 7. Maybe I'm thinking of Belichick in football. I don't know. But both of them are the two GOATs. I think Belichick and NFL and him. But did they enjoy any of it? What's it matter if you didn't enjoy it? What's it matter? Some of the best moments of your life were just holding the hand of somebody that you love or taking in a beautiful sunset. Don't you remember that? When I just said it, nothing's as good as peace. Nothing's as good as connection with God. Nothing's as good as engaging and experiencing the Holy Spirit, feeling bliss, feeling peace. And I'm just here to be an advocate to tell you that you can have both. And I actually think the more you have a connection with God, the more you take in that sunset, the more you are present with your children, the more you are present in that business meeting, the easier it is to get to these finish lines you keep future traveling to anyway. The more I've been present, the more effective I am, the better speaker I am, the better podcaster I am, the better teacher I am, the better father, the better leader. I'm better at getting these finish line things that we all obsess about. Hey guys, I've been talking about NetSuite now for, 7 years on the show. We've had such a great relationship because I believe so deeply in the company. And quite frankly, thousands of you have decided to become a NetSuite client. And that's because right now, I don't know if there's a bull or a bear market. I don't know what's going to go on in business. I wish someone had a crystal ball. I don't. But until someone comes up with 41,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, it's the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, HR into one fluid platform. You get everything for your business in one place. It gives you visibility, control you need to make decisions over everything. And so when you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backwards and more time on what's next. Whether your company's earning millions or hundreds of millions or less than that, NetSuite can help you respond immediately to challenge and seize your biggest opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Mylett. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/Mylett. netsuite.com/Mylett. You know, it's almost like sometimes the future is like becoming a drug addict who keeps chasing that same drug. And here's what happens when you're an achiever. Listen to me, you achievers out there, like, Ed's talking about not being achieving. I'm talking about achieving like crazy. But I'm also talking about enjoying it as you get there. Here's why. Those of you that think, is Ed getting soft over here? No. Listen to me. If you don't enjoy it a little bit, you become like a drug addict who keeps chasing the same drug, except at some point it doesn't get you high anymore. If you talk to most people that are meth heads or are addicted to meth or heroin or other drugs, they'll tell you at some point they don't even get high off the drug anymore. It's just the habit of keep taking it. They can't stop. They don't even get high anymore. And that's what happens with achievers who don't enjoy it. You keep chasing it. You don't even get high anymore. You just keep chasing more money, more stuff, more accolades, more recognition, more notoriety, and it doesn't get you high anymore because you didn't enjoy it. And then you're in real trouble because then what do? If you just sit around and do nothing, you're going to be miserable. Nobody wants to do that. Yet you've just OD'd on achievement and you don't know how to enjoy the moment. Right when you get there, you're running off the field worrying for the next one. That's not a formula for living long. It's also not a formula for sustainability, for endurance, for longevity. Hey, I've been in business now for 35 years. I think one of the reasons I've lasted this long is about 10 years ago, I started figuring this stuff out. But I was going down a road where I'd be burned out by now. I'd be fried. Yeah, I'd have made another 100 million, or yeah, I'd had more accolades, or man, my podcast got 1 million. Yeah, I got a TV show, but I wasn't enjoying any of it. Then I'd be fried. Then I'd be like a drug addict who I just keep getting a hit and nothing happens. And then you're really lost because then what do? So you have to do this. So dreams and imagination should be a great respite and a treat you give yourself to look at what it could look like. And then remind yourself to get back to the present moment because it's all you have. When you begin to future travel, stop. When you find yourself traveling in the future, stop. Do a pattern interrupt. Go, I'm doing it again. Let me get back to start to force your attention back to the now. And the way that I do it is I'll try to find something small in my awareness that I can focus on. In the future, I go, no, stop. That's not enough. Then I find something in the room I'm in, something on the cushion, a button, a nuance, a wrinkle, a something in the space I'm in. If I'm outdoors, a particular tree with a particular leaf, and I'll take in something small with specificity so I change my frame of reference. Anything you can do to stop always being on this future traveling destination to nowhere. No amount of fame, money, or notoriety is worth missing every single moment now for this phantom destination in the future. Having said all of that, life is about growing and expanding. And the way you do that is by lifting the weights in front of you. You do not build biceps by dreaming about lifting future weights. You build them by lifting the weight in front of you right now. You got to lift the weights in front of you right now. You don't do anything by thinking about or dreaming about or envisioning the achievement or the failure in the future. That doesn't build the bicep. It's lifting the weight in front of you right now. Give yourself the gift of reducing this stress to this place that you don't belong anyway, and begin to give your gift the gift of now. All you have is this right now. Life is really a collection of moments. At the end of your life, it's a handful of moments that most people cherish in their life. And what's sad about that is it doesn't need to be a handful. It can be thousands, hundreds of thousands. But for most people, when they get to the end of their life, they can count 3 or 4 or 5. And what I'm telling you about my life is that although I've had all these moments, I can only name a handful. I can only name a handful. I do not believe that's a rich man's life. I believe a rich man's life, a rich woman's life is rich in experience, rich in memories, rich in relationships, and yes, rich financially if you choose, rich in contribution. But the richness is the richness of moments. And at any given moment, we can be a rich person. I don't believe that's hyperbole. I don't believe that's hype. I don't believe that's philosophy or theory. I believe all of us, there are people right now with less than you that are living a richer life. There are people that have a whole lot less than you that right now that are having a rich experience as we speak. Something as simple as their daughter just walked in the room in their apartment they wish they weren't living in, but it's their precious daughter that just walked in and they just took it all in. Someone that you make more money than right now just walked outside and saw the most beautiful sunset. they've ever seen. And they gave themselves the gift of seeing it. And maybe you missed it this week. This rich life is not all about money and stuff. And I can tell you that it doesn't exist in the future. It only exists right now. The best moments of your life that you remember happened then, in that moment, not in the future. You have never enjoyed a moment that doesn't exist yet. It's impossible. Quit trying to trick yourself into enjoying a moment that doesn't exist. By the way, you also can't fix a moment that doesn't exist yet or a problem that doesn't exist yet. Stop wasting your time and be more fully present. I hope today helped you. We're on this journey together. I love you and believe in you. And at the end of this life, I'd love you to be wealthier. That would be great. I want you to live as long as you can. That's why we do the show on wellness and health as well. I want you to most importantly have a connection with your version of God. Mine is Jesus Christ as a Christian. I also want you to have a bunch of money if you'd like to have that. That would be great. I want you to have the body of your dreams, the relationships of your dreams. But man, I wish you a rich life of moments. Just a bunch of moments you're grateful for being here. And you're put here for another day for a reason. God's always by your side. Always by your side. Always has your back. Always wants you happy. Always wants you prospering, even through the darkest times in your life. If you can find a way to be grateful, you're going to find a way to enjoy every moment of your life, or at least more of them. At least more of them, my friend. God bless you. Max out your life. I'll see you next week.